Welcome to Isaiah's Reviews Podcast. My name is Isaiah. My co-host name is Sam. You can get to all my social site links through my website, isaiahsreviews.com. You can get to Sam's social links through his website, flipframevideos.com. You can also hire Sam because he runs a small video production company, so if you need anything done, weddings, home tours, music videos, and more, just go there. Listen to this podcast on YouTube, Facebook. You can stream it off the website, isaiahsreviews.com, Tumblr, and SoundCloud, and Spreaker. So now let's get this show on the road. Hey guys, welcome to Isaiah's Reviews Podcast, and today we're going to talk about Deadpool. We went to watch the movie together, and it's quite enjoyable. I'll go ahead and say that right off the bat. But we're going to try to do a spoiler-free review up front, and then do a completely walk through the whole film as much as we can remember, maybe find some Easter eggs, and spoil the heck out of the movie the rest of the way. So that's the plans. We'll make sure to tell you before we start the spoiler. But anyway, Deadpool is a former Special Forces operative turned mercenary, is subjected to a rogue experiment that leaves him with accelerated healing powers, adopted the alter ego of Deadpool. Pretty much he's got the same ability as Wolverine has to regenerate, but I think he can do more regeneration than Wolverine, right? Like if he loses a limb, isn't that right, Sam? Like he can kind of just grow something else, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. Can Wolverine not do that? I thought he could.
I don't know. I'm not that...
Because remember, in spoiler alert for another movie, in the Wolverine movie, he gets his claws cut off.
Right.
And then they come back. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he...
Yeah, the bone comes back, right? But...
Right. I'd imagine his hand would probably come back. I mean...
I just don't like right off the top of my head. I don't remember a time whenever he's lost a limb or something. I know I'm completely wrong, but I don't know.
I'm just waiting for some comic book nerd to be like, "What the hell? You don't know what that?"
Yeah, you don't remember this on episode 4 or whatever, and blah blah blah. But anyway, so pretty much the movie starts off with like an interstate scene, and that scene's kind of the, I say one of the main things of the movie, but the way they intertwine the storyline from the past to the future, that kind of scene plays out for a long time, and then you bounce back and forth, kind of telling the whole story of how Deadpool became Deadpool, his love interest, because it does tell you in the commercials that this is a love story, and it explains all of that, so you kind of know what's going on over like the first half of the film, and then you start getting a different change of scenery with the current time, I guess, instead of the flashbacks after the first half. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much to spoil anything, but right now it's averaging 8.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think it was for the budget. Let's talk about the $58 million budget's the last thing I read about it. And as far as I know right now, it's making $150 million domestic, and I think it's over $200 million worldwide. So it made a good chunk of the money back, and it's for a reason. I think it's a really good film. I think it deserves the money. It took a low budget and turned it into something great. And I think if you just stick to the simple principles of a storyline and just stick to your guns with it, and stick to the originality of the character that the movie's about, you can pull something off like this and it'd be good. And I think they, stuck true to the comics from what I hear. And, what is your take?
I mean, I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I really don't know much about Deadpool, but, I guess I do now. But, yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious. I loved its kind of self-awareness and humor. So, yeah, it was great. It was fun. Had a lot of action. And it's one of the better... Like, I didn't really know... I mean, I knew once the reviews and everybody, started talking about how good it was, that it was going to be good. But when I saw the trailers, I was like, that's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be as good. Like, it kind of exceeded my expectations. So, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. And just so you know who's the main characters kind of, or I guess his help in the film. It's Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And how they came up with Negasonic Teenage Warhead, that character, was Ryan Reynolds, and everybody was, I guess, asking the money, the production company, like, can we do this? This come out of Ryan Reynolds' mouth, but can we have this character? No, that's too much. Can we have this character? No, that's too much. And it kept going and going and going, and then finally he said, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and they said, Negasonic who? And then that's how they got that character in there, because it wasn't anything that would affected any kind of budget or anything like that. So, and then Colossus is just the voice; it's all CG. So, I think that's how they were able to keep the budget down, is by having a nobody in there alongside him. So
they originally asked the guy that plays him in the other films, the Bryan Singer versions, to come and play. They it's kind of like a courtesy.
Yeah,
but they weren't going to use his voice. They were going to use the Russian accent to make him sound like the original Colossus, and they weren't going to use because how in the Bryan Singer versions he can kind of walk in. He looks like a human, but then if he wants to have the coating come over him or the metal come over him, he can. And they're like, yeah, no, we're just going to keep you CGI the whole time. And he's like, no, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly want to see how much they paid the actors in it, because this is me thinking that Ryan Reynolds got paid no money up front. I think his money is going to come from a percentage of the profits of the film. And I think that's what helped keep the budget down. I think he agreed to take a percentage of the profits. But because whenever he talks, he says that it's me and 3 other guys came up with the whole thing, and it's been a driving force for 11 years to get this thing to the showroom floor. That's crazy.
Is that how long it's been since Origins came out?
I don't.
The one,
I don't know how long it's been since then, but I know he was wanting to have this done 11 years ago.
Okay, because I read somewhere where he said he got kind of blackmailed into doing. Or no, you know what it was is you said he's probably been wanting to do this for a very long time, and then the producers and the studio came to him about X-Men Origins Wolverine, and they're like, yeah, well, we can't do that movie you're talking about, but we got a Deadpool role for you in this one. And he's like, sure. And then I read somewhere where he started looking at the script. I think he'd already accepted to do it or something, and they started changing stuff. Maybe I don't know if I'm getting this completely accurate, but he was reading it and he was like, Deadpool's mouth's going to be sewed shut and he's going to have Wolverine claws, but it's going to be his blades. And he was like, yeah, that's going to piss everybody off that likes that character. So that's a bad idea. And they were like, well, you can either do it or not, but we're going to do it.
I don't understand what part of the process that they go, this is a great idea, let's make something that's not even a legitimate thing. That's not.
Well, the problem is you got people on there that don't care about the source material, and so they're like, I'm going to do my own thing with it. Fuck you, basically, or fudge you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's true. And but yeah, it's just this one to me nailed it, knocked it out of the park, and I want to say that he's probably going to get paid a percentage along with the 3 other guys that's kind of helping doing this thing. And that $58 million budget, I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't expecting how much that we got.
It still looks good. I mean,
yeah, it looks
CGI in
great.
It looks really good.
Yeah, the opening scene is really neat. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it yet, but I like the opening scene and how it goes back into that again, and that was... It's pretty neat.
Well, you know what? I bet that it's they probably spent a lot of money for that sequence. So you notice how they kind of cut it in half?
Oh, they milked it for all it was worth.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I guess that wasn't... No, that wasn't really a spoiler. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, they kind of they don't reuse it, but they extend it in a way.
Yeah.
It's like we get a brief break from it, and then we come back to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying, how they mainly stay on this interstate. And you see it in the trailer, so it's not anything you haven't seen if you haven't even seen the film yet. But they go back from that scene back to the past, back and forth, and they're able to stretch that out a long ways and use primarily your computer graphics there. And just in this one little scene, which probably cost a lot, but they're able to drag that way out.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet a lot of that budget went to that sequence.
Yeah, because, like, we'll talk about it later, but later on there's another CG scene that I don't think cost as much as the opening scene. Just because there's a lot of super detail in that opening. But I thought it was beautiful. Like, if they can do this with a measly little superhero budget of $58 million, what are they going to do whenever the production company goes, or whoever's behind it? Who is it? Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big
whenever Fox
debacle,
is like,
it's Fox.
Here's a checkbook. It has no, you write the number in it. Because they're talking about the X-Force movie that's coming out. They're talking about maybe making it rated R. What's his name? Spawn, Todd McFarlane. He come out, of course, and like, hey, it's going to be a hard rated R Spawn this time. I've got the script done. It's raring to go. It's going to happen.
There's also there was a Wolverine, another Wolverine sequel. Supposedly they're talking about it being rated R. I saw something.
It's funny whenever you get what you want, whenever they see one of them make it. And it's kind of like, we all want these things to be true rated R stuff and not, dumbed down for the money.
Well, that's why this one is because they didn't put most of their money in it. Other people did. And so they were like, sure, you can. They're probably like, you're not going to make any money because it's not PG-13.
Yes, that's true.
We don't give people what they want.
Yeah, and before we start going into the spoiler, because I feel like going into the spoiler stuff, because I thought it was some good stuff to talk about. Just know in advance that there is nudity, there is F words everywhere, there's women naked, and then we get to see Ryan Reynolds' penis and balls. That's in there.
It's not. Sorry, ladies. It's not the Ryan Reynolds you want to see.
Yeah. It's not like, lights on up close,
No, I'm saying,
Ryan Reynolds.
well, I guess I can't say without spoiling.
But you get to see a penis. It's not on the same level as the Watchmen blue penis, as detailed as that, but you see a penis. And
there's lots of penis.
There's lots of penis, and there's even Brian taking something that I probably never would take.
Nope.
And we'll just leave it at that. So now we're going to dive into the spoiler section of it. So if, like I said, probably 9 out of 10 for me, just because I respect the budget. I respect that they just totally went against the grain and made something that they had no idea was going to make it or not, but they just knew that the following was there and it was possible. They wanted to stay true to something, and they did it. And to me, it's like a superhero story in itself, the making of it. And before I forget, if you're expecting a director's cut out of this, it's not going to happen. I just read that the director said that there will not be a director's cut on Blu-ray for this.
I don't feel like there's a need for one. I think we got everything we needed.
Yeah, I think they gave us a lot.
Yeah, they come almost bordered on excess in some places.
Right,
like in a good way. But
I had no idea. This had to push not even a rated R rating.
You think like a NC-17 or?
I mean, it was probably close.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, just from
I think
the
because
content.
of the content, but I think because of the sort of CGI-ish kind of cartooniness to some of it and the humor that they're like, whatever. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it was like very, very dark in tone and more serious, they probably would have had, I guess, a little bit more trouble.
Yeah, you're right. So is there anything you want to say about the film, the impact it had on you, and all the good stuff for like an official review of it or something? You can end out the spoiler-free section, and we'll go into the spoiler.
I mean, I like you. I I mean, I'm not like in love with all these superhero movies. I used to be. I like them, the certain ones, and this one's one of them. I just, like you said, I love the fact that they go in with minimal budget and they have to figure out a creative way to make it good. You know, they don't just have tons and tons of special effects at their disposal. They have to utilize what they got. And what's great about it is they're self-aware about it in the film. And that's kind of part of the humor of it is I can't really say anything without spoilers. So, yeah, it's great though. Like you said, I'd say at least 8.5 to 9, somewhere out of 10.
Cool.
So
Totally agree. Okay, so going into the spoiler part now. So the film starts with him sitting on the edge of the bridge. Isn't that right?
yeah.
No, it's in
No,
the taxi cab.
Yeah. It starts off with him in the taxi. But I thought it started off with the credits first. Wait, did you say spoiler alert?
Yes, we're going to
Okay.
spoilers now. But no, it started with the slow motion of the main thing.
That's right. It starts off with the slow motion, and it's like his ass or his crotch is in some dude's face.
And he's got the bikers by the underwear.
Yeah, he's giving him a wedgie.
Yeah, and it also had the sexiest man of the year or something. Ryan Reynolds magazine was in there too. Did you notice that?
Yeah. And I love it. And then when the credits come in, it just gets even better because they're just making fun of themselves the whole time. Directed by some douchebag, or I don't know exactly what it was, but I remember it was just like directed by some douchebag, starring this fucking idiot. I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, dude. It was like awesome, like how that started, and you're like, okay, where are they going with this? What's happening? And then,
well, you knew immediately the tone that they were setting,
right?
Just from that opening scene, it was like, this is a very different. I mean, he says it in the trailer. This is a different kind of superhero movie, but I guess they were trying to really reinforce that, and I don't know. I appreciated that.
Yeah. And it's cool, like, how he gets from A to B is through a taxi, because you always associate a superhero with their vehicle.
Yeah.
And he's just calls the same taxi guy, and he never pays him.
No.
He's like, how about a high five?
How about a nice high five?
Yeah, high five.
Oh, my God.
And I guess we'll get to that in a little bit, but... So then he goes to the bridge, and basically it's been a year from his transformation into Deadpool that he's been planning his revenge on Ajax, which he calls Francis. He finds out his name's really Francis, which is pretty funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So he's been planning this for a year, and so he's sitting up there doodling on some paper or whatever, and then he goes down and crashes. And the fight scene, the opening scene with the vehicle rolling and stuff, that's what the opener is right there, and then it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's so brutal.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't think it's as brutal like the movie as the comic. Like from what I say that because he flashes back to his mercenary style work before he got to become Deadpool, and he's in this guy's apartment, and he comes out of the bathroom after the pizza guy answers the door. And this scene was directly taken out of the comic book, but it's before he gets his Deadpool suit. In the comic, he's actually wearing the Deadpool suit, but he lets the guy live, the pizza guy live, who he was contracted to hire to I guess bully or something in the movie, but he was actually hired to kill him as Deadpool in the comics. So
he was already Deadpool. Okay, here's the thing. I gotta ask. In the comic book or in the movie we saw, he has like a transformation sequence or scene where he gets all these abilities to do flips and flaps, and he can regenerate and yada yada. And that's when he gets the costume. And you're saying in the comic book, he's already got the costume?
Yeah, in that scene that they took, it's in 2012, number 10, Deadpool. He actually kills the pizza guy, and he's wearing the Deadpool suit.
Does he have the abilities yet? Or
oh yeah, he's Deadpool. He was just hired to, I guess, kill the pizza guy, and he does it in the comic. But in the movie, it's like a teenager hires him to get the pizza guy to leave her alone.
And I think the pizza guy is like in high school as well. I think that's why they didn't, but well, I can't comment on the comics, so I don't know.
Yeah, but
how old they were
at least they put that in there to match the comic. At least it shows that they actually did maybe a little bit of research and they know what they're doing with Deadpool to throw that in there. And I'm sure people that watch has got to know why that's not matching exact with the comic. But anyway, that's a little Easter egg that they did that.
If anybody complains about that, it's stupid. They've got plenty of blood and guts in here. Like,
yeah, right.
Well, there wasn't one extra dead body.
But then it goes, back to I guess the street scene. No, he goes to him going into the bar, I think, or something after that, where he meets the what's his face? Wade's
I forget his name. The actor, the bartender,
the actual guy's name. What is his? Weasel. Is it Weasel? No.
Hold on. That's why IMDb exists.
No, it's right here under my finger. Why don't I just click it and look at it? Okay. It is blah, 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 blah. Come on, where are you at?
Where are you at? It's
why does it list him at the top of the
guy? T.J. Miller, Weasel. Yeah,
Weasel. Okay, cool. I was right. Anyway, so then he goes back to the friend's bar, Weasel or whatever. But the writer, the originator of Deadpool, is actually in that bar as well in that scene when he comes in there. So if you look and you know what he looks like, you can find him in that bar scene when he first walks in there. The creator of Deadpool's got a scene in there. And they've actually held true to the comics with Weasel being a supplier of Deadpool weapons and stuff like that. If he ever needs any weapons in the comics, he goes and gets them from Weasel, and he does this in the movie as well. And he meets his wife, girlfriend, or whatever down the road there, and she's a prostitute. And I thought that was weird.
Oh, it was. Well, that was what was so funny about it. She's like, I love this prostitute.
Yeah, this prostitute. And I'm like, wow. She's a prostitute.
Was she a prostitute or a strip? Or I guess she was a prostitute then, and then later she's like, I'll just downgrade to stripper since we love each other.
Or waitress, because she was getting drinks or something. You remember?
Oh yeah. But she worked at a strip club.
Yeah, and I think she was because he said something, "Are you working?" or something like that. And I liked how they compared how bad each other's childhood was.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
That was pretty creative because that ties in on through the whole movie, kind of about them going back and forth.
Oh yeah, let me guess, raped by your uncle?
Yeah, I mean it was awesome. It was totally my pace of humor.
Oh yeah, it's like it doesn't. There's no filter, so if you get offended easily, I wouldn't suggest watching this movie.
Yeah, but then then he gets. We're gonna try to fast forward because we got 6.5 minutes. But
holy crap!
Yeah, it went quick. But he gets cancer. They fall in love. He gets cancer. He kind of wants to. I feel like he wanted to kind of die and leave her, but then he runs into this guy that says that he can heal the cancer. You turn into a superhero, and everything's great. He goes there. It's part of the Weapon X program, the same program that turned Wolverine into Wolverine, Logan into Wolverine. Same military.
That's the same program?
Yeah, it's Weapon X.
Are you serious?
That's what it says in my little cheat sheet.
That's what it was in the movie, though, because Wolverine, or at least, well, I can't remember what Origins was, but in the comic book, it was he was somewhere else. I guess they just relocated.
Yeah, that was just an underground thing that they were running. I guess
wherever they were.
The Ajax guy was helping with, but gotcha. I think it's part of the same program.
Okay, well that makes sense.
But so he goes there and he gets all juiced up, and I thought it was pretty cool how they activate the serum, how he makes his change. He has to
endure all this pain.
Yeah, and that's what sets off the juice stuff that they gave him is the adrenaline that you have when you fear something, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what makes him evolve, I guess, essentially. Rapidly evolve.
Yeah, so he turns into this mutant, and because this is part of the whole X-Men world, so now, but it changed his skin. He looks like this big burn victim type thing, and that's where the naked scene comes from with his wee and balls. And
he looks like a testicle with teeth.
Yeah, he does, really. But there's some other characters in there as well, that little Easter eggs, like Morrow. Whenever he's being dollied in there, you see this girl that's got all these spikes coming out of her. And I think she's part of the X-Force in Marvel Comics. Her name's Morrow, but she's sitting on one of the tables whenever he wheels by. So that was pretty cool. And also,
cool.
In Deadpool, there's a Deadpool rap. He's got his own song. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny.
I forgot about that.
Yep. And Deadpool also makes reference to, is it McAvoy or Stewart? Professor X?
Colossus is grabbing him, and he's like, I'm going to take you to Professor Xavier. And then Deadpool's like, which one? McAvoy or Stewart? I can't keep up with these timelines. It's like, yes.
Yeah,
very self-referential,
and that's why they were kind of saying too that maybe since Cable is going to be in the next one, that they'll be time traveling possibly with him, because there's actually a series of comics where Cable and Deadpool are kind of like partners together, and they play off of each other, and people love that series with Cable and Deadpool together. So we're looking at a serious macho, Stallone, Rambo type guy with Deadpool, and they play off each other, and it's supposed to be awesome.
That sounds awesome to me.
Yeah, so at the end of the film, they do a Ferris Bueller's Day Off ending, and
in the post credits, yeah,
in the post credits, and that's whenever he says that Cable's going to be in there. But what really blew my mind, that kind of shocked me, was Stan Lee's cameo in here. He's a DJ in a strip club with naked women everywhere.
I saw that in a review on Rotten Tomatoes. Someone said, where else are you going to get to see Stan Lee as a DJ in a strip club? Go watch Deadpool.
Right. It's crazy. And another thing, too, that was really neat is toward the end where they have the main fight scene is on this ship. This ship is supposedly being turned into one of these carriers that, have that will lift up into the air and be a carrier, like on.
Is that like similar to Civil or the Captain America movies? Yes,
the Avengers and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So they're saying that was part like that construction or something. But you remember he said Bob. He knew the guy that was the SWAT.
Yeah. I remember that.
All right, it says right here, it said it can only happen in Deadpool that the hero stops himself from killing one guard, recognizing him to be a former Special Forces operative who shared plenty of memories at TJF Fridays. The familiar soldier is revealed to be Bob, even though they're old friends. Wade still knocks Bob unconscious. But even if his appearance in the movie was brief, fans familiar with Bob, agent of Hydra, is a reoccurring character in Deadpool comics, might suspect a different plan or a fantastic nod to the character's oddball supporting cast. So apparently he's like a thing in Deadpool comics, Bob is. So he's like agent of Hydra.
Gotcha.
So it's an important thing why he, I guess, recognized Bob. It just wasn't because.
Okay.
But yeah, we're down to a minute. We just scooted through pretty quick because, some of the Easter eggs and stuff like that. Nothing crazy. But is there anything you want to say in closing before we skedaddle?
Go see it. If you, I don't know. It was great. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, definitely go see it because this movie is going to be the direct result of good movies to come that people will go, okay, we can make rated R things and stay true to a comic or stay true to something as violent as what we're doing.
Still make a profit.
Yeah, and still make a good profit. I mean, they're making over 200 million worldwide. So definitely go see it. You should be really pumped up that Cable's going to be in the next one because just research Cable and Deadpool and look at some of their dialogue back and forth from the comics because I did, and I was like, this is going to be better with a huge budget, it's going to be better than the last one. But
really,
anyway, we are closing 3 seconds. See you guys next week.